Hello, my name is Matthew Brogden, and my presentation is on the ultrasonic non-destructive detection of rebar corrosion in reinforced concrete using a Biot-Stoll model. Studying corrosion is important due to the high associated costs with corrosion-related damages to infrastructure, specifically the corrosion of rebar and reinforced concrete, because as rebar corrodes, it expands, and this can cause cracking and ultimately the destruction and degradation of the concrete over time. Using non-destructive techniques is particularly valuable as non-destructive techniques let you measure the corrosion and the rate of corrosion occurring in the sample without having to cut into or otherwise destroy part or all of the sample. One way of using this is by doing ultrasonic non-destructive testing. Ultrasonic non-destructive testing is when you send a high-frequency pulse of sound into a material to measure the properties of it, in this case, measuring corrosion in the way that the material, in this case, the reinforced concrete, is corroding. Coupling this with a poroelastic model of ultrasonic propagation in the rebar allows you to reliably detect any early signs of corrosion, as well as pairing these results with other more traditional non-acoustic related measures of corrosion. You can get confidence levels for the amount of corrosion taking place in the rebar at any given location or time. So here are some examples of the ways that the samples are set up to get these acoustic measurements in the lab so that we can better understand and fine-tune the model to measure corrosion. Here in this left image is an example of the concrete block completely submerged in the water. And the image on the right is that same image, just from a different perspective. So this is the above view where you can see the transducer. And what happens is the transducer is a narrow beam, high frequency transducer. It operates at 500 kilohertz. It sends an acoustic signal to the water, transmits through the water into the concrete, into the rebar, and then it echoes back. All of that is recorded. It then does this 10 times per sample location, and then it moves on to the next location. Each of the locations are separated by 2.5 centimeters, and they run the length of the rebar. It's also important to know that there are two steel rebar beams in each of the concrete samples. After this data is collected, what happens is you can then use the Levenberg-Marquardt algorithm to match a set of physical parameters to a specific acoustic signal. What that means is that you can learn more about the acoustic environment based off of how the algorithm adjusts these parameters from your initial guess. This then fitted acoustic signal can then be compared to a synthetic pulse, which is calculated based off of idealized conditions in the model. And the model is our poroelastic model that you can then use to compare to the collected data that was fit using the LMA. The physical properties that the synthetic pulse uses in the Biot model, in this poroelastic model, are given in this table here, and all of those are then combined together and computed to create this synthetic pulse. And here's an example of this synthetic pulse, this Biot simulation compared to an actual measured channel. So this image on the left here is just a direct comparison with the two results overlaid one on top of the other. The red is the Biot simulation, the blue is the measured, and then on the right you can see the water and concrete interactions. And then on the bottom you can see the 10 individual ultrasonic signatures that are averaged to get you a full picture. In the future, we want to then continue to develop this model and eventually move to field applications where we can measure and detect early signs of corrosion using this same method in the field and continue to fine-tune the measurements for increased acoustic measurement accuracy. Thank you.